What if I told you that the limits you see are nothing more than shadows cast by your own beliefs? That the world you live in is not fixed, but elastic, ready to bend, twist, and reshape under the weight of your will? Albert Einstein once said, "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one." Most people hear that and smile at its poetry. Few ever grasp its power. But those who do, they stop playing by the rules. They write their own. They break the game not to cheat, but to change it. Einstein was not born into privilege. He was not the prodigy the world assumes. As a child, he spoke slowly, so much so that his parents worried he might never speak at all. He failed exams. Teachers called him lazy. Society wrote him off. And yet, this slow child went on to change the very laws by which our universe is understood. How? He learned the one truth that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, the rules that govern. Your life are only real if you believe in them. The problem is, most people are prisoners of invisible walls. They obey without question. They accept without challenge. They walk in straight lines because someone told them the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Forgetting that in the fabric of space-time, lines curve, bend, and even fold upon themselves. Einstein didn't ask, "What's possible?" He asked, "What's real?" And then he shattered the definition of real itself. Think about it. Every breakthrough in history began with someone refusing to bow to the so-called truth of their time. Edison was told light could never be captured. He built 1,000 failures into the stepping stones for his one incandescent victory. Lincoln was crushed by defeat after defeat. His political career declared, dead before it even lived, until he rewrote the course of an entire nation. Musk was told private space travel was a fantasy. He's now building ships to take humanity to Mars. These were not men who waited for permission. They bent reality by refusing to accept it as it was handed to them. But here's the twist. The universe will not bend for the timid. It bends for the relentless. For those who stand in the face of every closed door and demand entry, not with arrogance, but with unwavering certainty that they belong inside. Einstein's genius wasn't in memorizing formulas, it was in creating them. He saw that energy and matter were not separate entities, but interchangeable E equals mc. In life, your energy, your belief, your obsession is the matter from which your reality is built. And just as matter can transform into energy, so can obstacles transform into opportunities, fear into power, and doubt into faith. But only if you decide that they will. The average person spends their life tracing the outlines of someone else's drawing. They fill in the colors between pre-drawn lines. They call it safety. But safety is just the polite word for stagnation. If you want to win the impossible, you must learn to draw your own. Map on a blank canvas and accept that the world will call you reckless. They will call you unrealistic. They will call you wrong until they call you a genius. The formula for impossible wins is not reserved for the gifted. It is reserved for the committed, the mind that refuses to accept no as the final word, the will that refuses to quit on the 1,000th failure because it knows the 1,001st is where the breakthrough lives. Einstein once said, "I am not smarter than other men. I just stay with problems longer." And that is the essence of bending reality. You push long enough, hard enough, with such precision and force, that the world itself reshapes to accommodate your vision. But there's a price. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to walk alone while others follow the path of least resistance. You must be willing to be laughed at not just by strangers, but by the people you love. And when the world pushes back, when it tells you, this is just the way things are. You must push harder until the way things are is no longer the way they will be. Because the truth is this: you don't live in reality. You live in your version of reality. And that version is clay malleable, moldable, yours to shape. And the moment you realize that, the impossible stops being a wall and starts being a door. Imagine a world where the rules were written by someone no smarter than you. Einstein believed that. He once said, "The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." Think about that. If the game feels rigged, it's because it was designed by the minds of yesterday. And if you dare to think differently, you don't just play the game, you rewrite it. History bows to the few who bend reality to fit their vision. Edison looked at the dark and decided it wasn't inevitable. He ripped light out of the void and wired it into the world. Lincoln saw a nation breaking apart and refused to accept division as destiny. He rebuilt it through the fire of war and the steel of resolve. Musk looked at space and didn't see emptiness, he saw a launch pad. Einstein's life was proof that the greatest victories are born when you refuse to accept how things are. He questioned the unquestionable, challenged the bedrock of physics, and reshaped humanity's understanding of the universe. Not by brute force, not by louder noise, but by bending the rules, until reality broke open to reveal something greater. But here's the truth. No one wants to tell you most people don't lose because they're incapable. They lose because they've made a silent agreement with the limits placed on them. They settle for what's written in the rulebook instead of picking up the pen. They say, "That's just the way it is," and stop climbing. Einstein's formula for impossible. Wins wasn't a string of numbers. It was a way of thinking. Question everything. Refuse blind obedience to convention. Replace fear with curiosity. And when the world laughs, keep building in silence until the same people who mocked you have no choice but to call you a genius. The cage you're in, it's made of paper. The locks you think hold you, they're made of ideas. And ideas can be replaced. When they tell you your dreams are unrealistic, remember so was flying before the Wright brothers proved gravity could be negotiated. So was electricity before Edison made night optional. So was relativity before Einstein redrew time and space on the canvas of possibility. If you want to bend reality, you must stop asking for permission from it. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Perfection is a mirage that keeps you walking in circles. Every day you hesitate, the old rules tighten around you. Every hour you waste in doubt, someone else is out there rewriting the future you were meant to own. Einstein didn't chase certainty, he chased questions. And in those questions, he found answers that shifted the entire trajectory of humankind. What if you approached your life the same way? Not asking, "Can I?" but "How far can I push this before the old map stops working?" You have within you the same raw material every great mind started with: time, thought, and the courage to act. The difference between those who win and those who watch is not luck, it's the refusal to bow to a world that doesn't yet match their vision. And so, I ask you, are you here to live inside someone else's blueprint? Or will you tear it apart and draft your own? Because the moment you decide, truly decide, that the current rules no longer apply to you, that's the moment the game changes. That's when you stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. That's when you understand what Einstein understood, that reality is flexible, the rules are negotiable, and the impossible is just the starting point. You don't need the approval of the crowd. You need the fire of your own conviction. You don't need every answer right now. You need the relentless hunger to keep asking better questions. And above all, you must believe, with a stubbornness the world can't break, that your mind is not here to adapt to reality. It's here to alter it. And when you do, when your thinking becomes so big that the current world cannot contain it, reality will have no choice but to stretch, to bend, to realign itself around you. That's the moment they'll call you brilliant. That's the moment they'll say you are ahead of your time. But you'll know the truth. You weren't ahead of your time. You simply refused to live beneath it. And so, you must understand bending reality is not about denying it. It is about shaping it with such unshakable clarity of vision that the world has no choice but to bend with you. Einstein once said, "Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions." But he didn't just mean daydreaming on a quiet afternoon. He meant envisioning a future so vivid, so electrifying, that it pulls you forward like gravity itself. Most people drift because they live as if the present moment is a prison. But reality is not a cage. It is clay. And clay does not resist. It yields to the hands that dare to mold it. Yet the hands must be steady, the mind must be ruthless, and the will must be relentless. The world does not reward the timid, it crowns the bold. Think of the innovators who shattered limits. Thomas Edison did not wait for light to find him. He wrestled with thousands of failures until the darkness surrendered. Abraham Lincoln did not rise because the path was clear. He carved it through war, loss, and political defeat. Elon Musk did not wait for permission to build rockets. He launched them while the world laughed, betting his fortune on a dream too big to measure. These are not stories of luck. They are case studies in bending reality through vision, resilience, and defiance. The truth is, reality is not a wall, it is a negotiation. And the terms are set by the one who is most committed. The timid ask, "What's possible?" The bold declare, "This is what will be." Every breakthrough in history was first an unreasonable demand. The light bulb, the airplane, the internet, all born from minds that refused to accept the first answer. The common answer, the safe answer. You are not here to live inside someone else's blueprint. You are here to draft your own, in ink so permanent that time itself cannot erase it. This requires more than belief. It requires the discipline to act as if the future you envision is already inevitable. When you live this way, fear loses its grip. Doubt becomes background noise, and every obstacle transforms into raw material for your masterpiece. The laws of physics are constant, but the laws of human potential, they are rewritten every time someone dares to rise. Einstein redefined space and time. You can redefine success, wealth, and destiny. It is not a question of resources. It is a question of resourcefulness. It is not about what you have now. It is about what you are willing to become. And here lies the secret. The world bends for those who refuse to break. It will resist you at first, test you, bruise you, humiliate you. It will strip away your comfort, your illusions, your excuses. But if you stand, if you persist, the resistance becomes respect, and the respect becomes history. You must decide today. Will you be a spectator in life's theater, or will you be the director who rewrites the script? Will you wait for permission, or will you claim the authority that has always been yours? You have been gifted the same raw materials as every giant before you, a mind capable of impossible visions, and a heart capable of impossible courage. The formula is not hidden. It is this. Imagine boldly, act relentlessly, endure endlessly. Do that, and reality itself will be forced to obey. Because the rules you think are fixed are only fixed for those who never question them. And history does not remember those who played by the rules. It remembers those who rewrote them.